Oh, tell you what, I'll throw my hood up. It's kind of feels like winter out today. Upper 20s. Today's Sunday. I'll tell you what, this last week definitely didn't feel like winter. We saw 50s, we saw rain. I've been inundated with people asking about ice conditions, all that kind of stuff. I'll try to walk through a little bit of that and what I'm seeing lately, and then my best educated guess on what we're going to see this next week with the coming weather. So let's just start with that. We got 40s and 50s. We got rain. We got a number of things. I'll tell you what, one thing that surprised me, honestly, and I'm not saying this as an across the board thing, go out, do whatever you want. I'm actually pretty surprised on how well the ice actually did hold up this week with the warm weather, with it literally downpours. I was out on Thursday in a straight downpour rain on the ice. And we didn't lose a ton of ice. Our shorelines were compromised on some lakes, meaning started to pull away from shore. Some of the accesses are not accessible with an ATV or a machine. You're seeing more anglers on foot recently this week, and a lot of anglers on foot. There are lakes, however, where you can get, I can get my snow dog out. You can get an ATV out. You can do things like that. Again, like I said in one of my recent posts, not all lakes or bodies of water are created equal. Just because you can get an ATV on this lake, it does not mean you can get one on this lake. So the one thing I'm telling everybody this time of year, and it sounds like a broken record, is do your own checking, do your own due diligence, get out there, check. Don't just listen to what people say, or hey, I found 8 inches of ice on lake X, Y, or Z, because not all lakes are the same, not all accesses are the same. There's different spots on certain lakes. For example, we canceled our Ultimate Panfish League event next week down on Lake Tatanka a week from today, because that ice is just in pretty bad shape. They lost a lot of it. It's too inconsistent. There's some open water spots. The shorelines are busted up and breaking away from shore. Could things change a bit this week, and could we salvage a little bit of gain and maybe squeeze out the event? Possibly. But I'm not the kind of person that's going to take that risk, especially when it's 60 of my friends out there competing and trying to have fun. That's just the guide in me. That's the father in me. That's the friend in me. So prime example of how certain parts of the Twin Cities metro, far south metro, that's Faribault, Shieldsville area, lakes are in tougher shape. You go up to East and West Rush, lakes are in much better shape. I got word from our family and friends over at MN Made that the conditions up on East and West Rush are favorable. They're okay. They're going to cancel some events as well, but you can get out, you can do some things, but that's a 2 to 2.5 hour discrepancy in distance from one to the other, so things are going to be different. So those are things just to consider. Check the ice, bring a spud bar, bring your ice picks, bring a throw rope, wear your float suit, do some of those things. Not trying to scare you, I'm just being a realist. It does look like we're going to bounce back a little bit this week. It looks like we're going to see some temperatures in the low 20s at night. I did see maybe even some teens, don't know. We're going to have some highs that might not even get into above freezing, which is awesome. Harden things back up, get us back out there enjoying the sport. Now, if you got an ice castle, this probably isn't the year for you in the Twin Cities. Sorry. So you're probably not going to get that out anymore. I would assume between now and when they need to be pulled off here in a couple of weeks. I just don't see enough happening in the next week and a half, 2 weeks for that to happen. But I do see us getting back out on the ice and having some fun on foot, possibly some machines like I mentioned. So what's the bite like? So I've been out quite a bit this last week. I've chased all kinds of different bites, chased a lot of different scenarios, mostly targeting crappies and bluegills. And the one thing I've continued to see this year with the lack of snow cover, thin ice, a noise becoming a factor, all the variables that we don't often think about in February because we have 20 inches of ice and we have snow cover and all that kind of stuff. We're talking about 6 to 10 inches of ice around here, no snow cover. These fish are hyper spooked. So I'm fishing a little bigger than I usually do because I want to get down quick, fast, efficient, draw them in, trigger the bite, impulse strikes, get them going. So I've increased a lot of my tactics on my Pinhead Pros to a 16th ounce or even an 1/8 ounce spoon, and you'll see a drop XL version jig. This is going to be a 10 or even a size 8 hook, XL size plastic. This lets me get down quick, lets me get down efficient, lets me intercept these schools, because I'll tell you what, if you're watching them on forward-facing sonar, you're watching them straight up fly around. They're not staying put that much. They are on the edge of the basins. They're not just wandering the basins and kind of stalling out and just kind of meandering. They're sprinting the edge of that basin. And unless there's something to hold them, like an inside turn, some type of structure, some type of weeds, they're doing just that. They're just moving. They're just going to keep roaming. So you got to kind of get in front of them, get down quick, pay attention, and hammer home. I'm using 3-pound test line. I'm using noodle rods. You know me. I'm using the 34-inch katana noodle. This is new this year, and the 34-inch straight drop noodle, new this year as well. 2 3-to-1 gear ratio. Get down there, run after them, bring them home. So my 1-2 punch has been spoon. I know, shocker. Pinhead Pro, no bait. This is a 16th ounce. And drop XL, size 10. This is actually a size 8 hook, and I got a poly XL on there. Pretty big profile. You're looking at an 1.5 inch, approaching 2-inch profile there. Get down quick, targeting crappies, bluegills. Even bluegills are taking both of these presentations. So that's kind of my 1-2 approach for chasing them down. And like I said, the edge of the basin seem to be big. That's where I'm seeing to catch the majority of my fish, the better size fish. I am finding some fish in the weeds and around cover. A lot of times you have to move shallower for that. It's more of a stealth game. It's real quiet. If I know I'm on a weed bed and I know there's fish there, I actually take my cleats off and then fish. Yes, I understand you can slip, but just be a little more ginger. You're going to be slow. You're not running and gunning as much. You're fishing a weed bed, I don't know, that big, right? So take the cleats off, quiet down, and get on top of those fish and just really focus. I might turn to a spring bobber approach, smaller tungsten, depending on their mood. But if I'm running and gunning and getting after it, I do still put my cleats on, but I have seen situations this last week, especially where they absolutely hate ice cleats. They scoot away the second they hear you walk up to you. They don't like it. So be your best judgment on how you feel like you can maneuver around without cleats. And if you feel like you're going to fall or not, entirely up to you. But I have noticed that when you take the cleats off, I have had better success on catching more fish. Now, I'm not going to tell you to do that because I don't want you to slip and fall. But if you feel like you're able to, I'm just saying it's helped us catch a few more fish and not spook the school as often. So those are kind of my tactics. This week, it's going to be relatively cold, comparable to the last couple of weeks. Like I said, mid-30s for highs, some days even not even above freezing, mid to low 20s for lows. We should lock things up nicely. We should make maybe a tad bit of ice before next weekend. So this next week, hey, we're trying our best to hold on and keep chasing some fish. So that's what we got going on. I'll give you another report hopefully in a week or so on what I'm finding this week. I'm going to do a little bit of travel north. I will spend a little more time in the metro here and see what's going on. But big thing this week, do your own homework, do your own checking, pay attention to the situation, spud out. I know it's crazy that I'm telling you to grab a spud bar in the middle of February, but hey, it's just what we have to do. So be safe, go out there, have some fun, grab a buddy to go with you. And you know what? We still got some ice fishing ahead of us. Don't get discouraged. There's still a couple weeks left of game fish season here in the Twin Cities. We're going to have some pan fishing after that. I anticipate us being able to ice fish into March. It's not like the ice is going to go away. I know it was doom and gloom a week ago when we saw the weather coming in last week. Hey, best case scenario, I guess, half glass full attitude. We're still on the ice. Just be safe out there. Have some fun. Set some hooks for me. And if you're enjoying the Super Bowl today, eat some wings. I know I'm going to. We're going to grub out and have some fun with the neighbors. See you next time.